are moving. We believe that the payroll cost is the only single important denominator which will not change. It will only increase over a period of time. And we wanted to do a little scientific analysis of how the report could talk to you guys. So if you just move. Yeah. So why the need? I think so before we started this report, we sat down and we wanted to analyze 3 or 4 aspects which we believe would be impacting the hotel industry tremendously in the next 4 to 5 years. One, we believe that there is an Uberization of services which would be impacting the industry very fast. Couple of major areas are already being outsourced, and we believe the future could be in a situation where your F&B and your rooms could also be outsourced to companies which are super specialists in this. So there is definitely a need to understand the payroll cost. Budgeting cost and implementing the control measures, I think so this was something which we felt is being completely ignored. There is a mechanism where you put the payroll cost as a part of the entire subset, but I don't think so the payroll cost talks to the productivity analysis both in the food and in the room, which are the 2 principal costs for you guys. Enhancement of existing performance measurement tools. Why we picked up this? Because we believe that the general managers of today need to inculcate the spirit of payroll cost down below into their team members. Let's say if your banquet manager is able to understand how it is impacting the ROI or the profit of the department, I think so it will be fairly very easy for the general manager to achieve its objective. Greater emphasis on attrition and retraining. This report also mapped for the first time what are the attrition trends and what is the cost of retraining. The study was conducted across 204 hotels across 68 cities. We divided the report into 2 very clear parts. One was on the segmentation, so we covered luxury, upscale, budget, economy, upper upscale, and upper mid-market. And we divided the other report into metro and non-metro locations. Focus area was to basically, of the report, was to basically understand the structure of the payroll cost. Before we sent the questionnaire, we spoke to possibly every HR head, and we wanted to define and come out with a structured understanding of how do you define the payroll cost, because different companies had different ways of interpreting the payroll cost. Then we analyzed the payroll cost to the revenue. So this basically revenue for us was the F&B revenue and the room revenue. We studied certain employee productivity statistics, which I think so you would see over a period of time. We examined the room to the manpower ratio, and we channelized what is the cost of the employee attrition. So this is what the payroll cost structure definition is for us. And basically all employees-related expenses were assessed for the inclusion in the payroll cost calculation. So we took annual salaries, wages, and bonuses. We took the welfare costs, the contractor payments for service and job contracts, uniform costs, and basically every other contribution which the hotel is paying for it. So what we got was something very interesting, and I think so this report would be an ever-evolving report. Over a period of time, we would encourage most of the hotel companies to participate in this survey. For us, it's not a revenue. It's more to give back to the industry, because it will basically inculcate and educate the general managers of tomorrow how to define your cost. So the domestic hotel chains, if we actually see the payroll cost per employee is about 4,39,000. International hotel chains is about 4,10,000. I think so there are certain legacy issues, and that's why the data could be a little skewed. Then we went further ahead and divided this report of how the payroll cost talks to your revenue analysis. So annual payroll cost and the annual revenue of participating hotels was analyzed. across the fundamental analysis parameters of all India average, hotel market positioning, and the 7 major Indian studies. And what we got, amazing stuff, okay? Annual payroll cost to your annual revenue is about 20.9%, okay? The annual revenue per employee, it comes to about 26,000. Annual revenue per employee is about 20, and you can read the report, I think so. What it does, it basically for the first time gives a very scientific analysis to the development guys to go out and talk to the prospective owners of how and what the cost would be, okay? If you see the statistics, it's very interesting. So the rooms payroll cost as a percentage of annual rooms revenue. We then moved into a curve of annual F&B revenue as a percentage of annual revenue. And you see the graph very clearly indicates there is a, between the rooms and the F&B, how the data talks. Can just, oh, sorry. Yeah, and this is, again, so this is the payroll cost versus the revenue analysis. We deliberately just put a certain percentage points because we would encourage hotel companies to go a little deeper into it. We have the data. We can run a very scientific analysis of the hotels. So if you see, the annual revenue per employee is about 20, the payroll cost per employee is about 26, all India, and the annual payroll costs talks to somewhere there. And the different graphs basically helps you to understand and can help you guys to actually break down your cost into, possibly the variance would be about 3 to 4% and not more than that. This is again very interesting. We did this report in 2011, 2012 on the manpower ratio, and you can easily say that there is a lot of improvement which has happened. The F&B division is about 0.78, manpower to ratio. Rooms is about 0.52. All India average has fallen down to 1.69. So there's still a lot of improvement which can be done. And if you see the annual employee attrition stands at 24.5. Luxury, again, is fairly low purely because we've seen that there's not much movement out there. And you would see the graph that upscale in the upper mid-market, the maximum amount of attrition is happening here. And I think so. I was hearing Mr. Patu Keswani, and when he said that, for him, that's the single most important measure of understanding how cost will talk to you in terms of your revenue. I think so. Companies have not taken into account what the attrition cost is, okay? It's huge, the amount of time wasted in terms of hiring, looking at prospective candidates, onboarding. It's a huge, huge cost, okay? Yeah. So I think so we just try to help you to the general managers of how this payroll cost could talk and could be a part of your KRA. And let's say if you want to reduce the payroll cost by 5% without impacting the revenue, the GM benchmarks the current payroll cost with the industry norms, which I think so now the data points are there for you to talk. Earlier it was not there. The GM's KRA should be linked to the department heads' KRAs, which could be the revenue-generating departments of rooms and F&B. Further, it can break down. The department heads can then further break down into their line managers, and this is how it would lead to a very high efficiency and performance across roles. Last but not the least, we would love you guys to share this data, and we can create a customized benchmarking report for you. I would just like, I'm sorry, I'm just pacing it up because we have got a little time constraint. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Anupama, Jaiswal, and Jui, who are the actual architects of writing this report, interpreting the report. And please feel free to connect with both of them. I think so they will have more scientific data for you to analyze and talk. Is Anupama around here? There she is. Anupama, could you just stand? Yeah, please. So she is the person who has written the entire report. Yeah, please, I'm more than happy to answer any question.
Good morning, Natwar sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
So Danielle here is in 4th year. She's doing hotel management from IHM Aurangabad, and I think she has a question which is very valid. And
Sure.
when I graduated 2 years ago, I had the same question. So yeah, ask away.
So my question to you is, why should millennials join the hospitality industry, considering the fact that the pay scale is lower during their initial days of work as compared to businesses in other industries?
Okay, I was not a hotelier, but now I'm a die-hard hospitality professional. Let me just reply. I think so the hospitality industry is the only sector, okay, which I'm very proud to say, in the last 2 decades have grown by 4x. So if you start comparing your banking, which we were considered the poor cousins to banking and the other sectors, it's the only sector which has given its employees at least 4x in terms of revenues or remuneration. It's a great industry, okay? It's very challenging. It helps you to handle pressures, manage processes. A general manager of hotel, I think so, is a CEO, okay? So he manages a customer, he manages the internal employees, he is going out and generating revenues for the owners. And I think so it's just there. I don't think so this industry is looking back. It would grow tremendously. And I think so the opportunities are just coming about. Yeah, I understand the ROI for the first 2 years would be low, but that's okay. But I think so it's an industry where your heart and soul can match. I think so. You have your what you call the trending of you can be in the front of every newspaper. You can be a part of contributing to the society. I think so. It's a sector which is doing a lot. I think so. It's a great industry. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Any follow-up questions?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We love our industry. I think so. The sector. I don't know whether you guys are aware. I've been reading statistics. The hospitality sector in the last 2 decades has grown by 4x. Okay, so if you compare a general manager who was there in 1995, 96, to a general manager who was in a banking sector, the amount of remuneration what a general manager of the Indian hospitality industry is getting, there is a multiple of 4. And I don't think so any other sector has grown that way. Thank you.
Thank you.